What's going on, guys? I'm Temple of Gamer, and today I am back for another Gamer Plays review. And today we are taking a look at the Temple of Narwal, which is an icandy platformer created by DaddyMcQueen. And let me just point out before this review begins, this review is all opinion based. There's no factual stuff behind it. This is just based off of my personal experience, how I felt while playing it. It should not affect how you see the level. If you have played the level, then great. Hey, your experience is your experience, but if you haven't played the level, do not take my word for it. Play it yourself. There will be a link down in the description where you can play it. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, the first thing I want to talk about, and it's kind of like a negative thing a little bit, but I just want to bring it up to the creator if he's watching, because I know that he suggested it. Right here, you don't know, first playing it, that you're supposed to grab it. It does not look like something that you're supposed to grab onto, even though you're heading towards it. You immediately assume that there's going to be a platform that's going to come up somewhere there and assist you there. Or at least you're going to be like falling down to a different platform further down. You never assume that you're going to be grabbing it. And that kind of got me the first time. Because like when I was playing it the first time, this is like my second time playing it. When I played it the first time, I was confused. Alright, I got like jumped straight towards it, and I had no idea what was going on. I hit the wall and I fell into the electricity. Nobody was supposed to do until the second time around. And normally, that's not really a big problem, but certain people might find that a bit of a problem when they are playing through and they don't know what they're doing. Perhaps like a hint to grab might have been a good thing. I don't know. Once again, my personal opinion. I just think like there should have been something of a warning. And another thing I want to talk about was this part. I understand what the creator was going for with this kind of thing, but I don't know, it just, the bounce pad's movement doesn't seem right. It just kind of takes away from the scenery altogether. Now, it just moves way too quickly and does not hesitate to move backwards. It doesn't seem like, it seems highly realistic in the Mayan times, which seems like this was based off of visually. Now, yeah, I'm pretty sure that they did have like, kind of technological mechanisms to be able to move stuff. But that seems a little too robotic and futuristic to be moving like that. And just also creates a lot of unfair deaths. If you noticed, I was struggling to get on it. It's just really unnecessarily difficult to get onto it. I'm sure like this is meant to be like a bit of a challenge. It's just way too difficult to get on. Okay, the next thing that I want to get to for negatives, just trying to get the negatives out of the way. This obstacle seems a little too not paced properly. Like you noticed, I was doing perfectly fine at running through it. That's where it should have been. And just me running through it, that way I'd be able to get on and keep going. But it's just like, one, it didn't come up properly. It did not come up on time. It was basically like lagging behind it. It just didn't come up. So, yeah, probably have no idea what I'm talking about. No, let me explain. Oh, actually, before I get to that, this part kind of stopped the gameplay a little bit for some reason. And I know a lot of people do this, but I don't know. For me, it just takes away from the gameplay. It stops the entire flow of the gameplay. It makes you have to stop and wait. Some people are okay with that. Others, like me, I don't know. It just feels off. It takes away the gameplay. But anyways, back to what I was talking about before. Or say the first three pillars that come up every 0.3 of a second. It's basically like every 0.3 seconds, the next one comes up. But then the next one after that comes up 0.6. It kind of ruins the gameplay and forces you to stop. And it just feels off. I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me, and I just kept dying multiple times. Some of the times were just because the bounce pad was moving way too fast, so I ended up like falling off when it like moved into other direction, which you probably did see. But it's also from the lack of pacing in that part of the level. Now just saying, the obstacle actually not that bad. Now the obstacle was actually pretty good. No, it's actually something that I have used a few times in levels that I have either published or have just stopped the project altogether. Either way, it's a fun obstacle to use, and I've seen it all the time in the community as well. I'm pretty sure that's probably where he got inspired it from. I don't know. Now, maybe that's the case. Who knows? Okay, like, remember... Okay, backtracking a little bit. Remember when I was talking about how the got me a bit kind of stopped the gameplay a little bit because it wasn't there. Well, here's my question. He does it. DaddyMcQueen has that kind of thing here, where it's back at the beginning, and once you grab onto it, you can easily go through, and once you let go, it goes back to normal. Why didn't he do that before? Like, it's so obvious that he's able to do it, and he has no problem with doing it. Why couldn't that have been done before? I don't know. It just doesn't sit right. And also, before it just ruined the gameplay. Here, I was able to grab onto it and go. That's what the gameplay is, and that's what gameplay is supposed to be. Let it flow. Let it flow. Let it flow. I don't know why I got into Frozen. Anyways. Sorry, I'm really tired. That I'm on something. Yeah, basically, like... Okay, that one, I don't need to talk about. That was me being an idiot. So, moving on from that. But, like, I don't know why he couldn't have done that before. It doesn't really make too much sense for that part. I don't know. But either way, I just want to talk about one thing real quick, and that's with the positives. The level is actually really good. The gameplay is alright, even if it does get challenging at sometimes. And it does meet the eye candy perspective, where everything is visually pleasing. And I love how this guy basically turned that into a platformer as well. Well, wouldn't that technically make it a platformer? No, I don't know. Anyways. But yeah, like I said, the visuals are stunning. Honest to God, these visuals are amazing. I honestly cannot think of better ways to the visuals to get any better. Oh boy. And we have found the second problem that not second. I have found the other part of this level that I don't know, it just doesn't seem right. Now, basically what we're watching right now is the second part of the level. No, the creator split this into two parts, and I don't know why. Like, I can understand, like, maybe the thermometer was, like, not letting him continuing, but part 2 doesn't seem like it's a second part to anything. Like, the first part, that was amazing. That was great. The visuals were good. The obstacles could have been a little less challenging, but the obstacles were still really good. The visuals were amazing. But in the second part, the visuals change up. Why? What was the point of that? The visuals pretty much, it's just, like, gone out the window and said, hey, let's make some different, scenery. Let's make this completely different and completely opposite of the first part, just for shits and giggles. Just to show that I have a wide range of visual talent. That's great, you do. This level does look beautiful. But why is it part 1? Sorry, not part... Why is this part 2 to part 1? This could have been a completely separate level altogether. It does not flow right with the original part. The first part, that you could tell was like really amazing. You were drawn into the visuals. Here, you're drawn into the visuals, but you're scratching your head like, huh? What happened? And I was at the temple, and now I'm swimming through water. What happened here? Oh, yeah, one more thing about this level. I don't know what it is, but it just went from a platformer to pretty much a puzzle. It went from a platformer to a puzzle level. Why that happened, I don't know. Either way, this puzzle was really confusing, which I don't review those parts of levels. Like, if I'm going to review a puzzle level, I don't review on how challenging the puzzles were, because maybe that was the creator's intention, like, make the challenges hard. And, okay, yeah, that's fine. Now, if you want to make a puzzle level, then great, but, like, why not do it as a second part to a platforming level? Why do that instead of, like, molding them together in the first place? Like, it would make sense if part 1 was also a puzzle level. No, but this is the only one of the two that are puzzles. Like, this one has puzzles inside. It does have platforming gameplay, but it's the only one that's puzzles. The first one was just like any regular platformer. You can jump around, swing, run, platforming stuff. Here, you're swimming and you're trying to figure out puzzles. I don't know. It's pretty much like, okay, like I said, the creator did an amazing job with these levels. The visuals were beautiful. The gameplay is amazing. Like, honest to God, I probably couldn't do these visuals. These visuals are that good. I'm pretty sure even Big Surf is looking at this going, what the fuck? How did he do that? How the frick did he do that? Yeah, I went there. I went there. I brought Big Surf into the middle of this. You mad? But, like, something, it just didn't feel right changing the gameplay style. It just didn't sit right whatsoever. Everything would have been perfectly fine. And the gameplay style changed abruptly, and the visual style changed as well, and it just, when that happens, it just makes me question why this was not a separate level altogether. Like, obviously these two levels are separate, they're two different levels. But why couldn't you just, like, make the Temple of Narwals, which is the first part, and this part could be, like, a completely different level that's not even relevant to the first part of the Temple of Narwals. Temple of Narwals could be its own separate level, and this could have been Temple of Poseidon or something like that? I don't know. No, either way, it just felt off as to why this was a separate level. It didn't seem right. It didn't seem like it should have been a separate part, but instead, this doesn't feel like it could have been part 2, but instead it feels like it could have actually just been its own separate level. That's normally what it does. Because, like, part 2, it's continuing the original story. It's continuing the original gameplay. It's continuing the original story. Continuing the original everything. Part 1, it moves over to part 2 as continuation. What's not supposed to happen is you're not supposed to change everything completely and claim it to be part 2, because then even audiences will be completely confused. I was completely confused while playing this. I was still playing it, but I was really, really confused. I didn't know what was going on. I was questioning why this was linked to the first one and called Narwhals Part 2. It didn't seem right. It didn't seem consistent. That's normally what parts are supposed to be. Like, the visuals are supposed to be consistent with both levels. The gameplay kind of sort of be consistent, but at the same time trying something new as well. And the overall feel of the level is supposed to be consistent a little bit. Like, in the first part, I felt like I was with the Mayan temple. I was in the Mayan temple. I was running through it, basically kind of like Temple Run, only with platforms, and actually a lot more fun. Now here, you go from part 2. I don't know. It just kind of feels like it was a lot more rushed. Like, it still looks stunning. Still looks beautiful, but it felt a lot more rushed. Something that I would end up doing. Like, if you guys have played any of my levels, you can tell that my levels are sometimes rushed. Like, they start off like, oh yeah, these are perfect, these are awesome, and then it just kind of downgrades from there. Yeah, the styles, like, starts to kind of fall down a little bit. I will admit that I'm not really consistent most of the time. But, like, that's the problem. It ruins the experience. The experience is trash at that point. Well, okay, trash is kind of overdoing it a little bit. It's more like, kind of feels way too different. Everything is changed about the level altogether. Nothing is consistent. It feels like it's a separate level. Now, I know I've rented on this part for, like, majority of the level, which is, like, I think 6 minutes. But like, I don't know, it felt off. It didn't seem right. Like, it just, like, But nevertheless, getting the positives up, getting all those negatives out of the way. The positives are that the level is still really fun despite the confusion and the change. And the visuals are stunning. I, honest to God, love these visuals. I feel like I've actually left LittleBigPlanet altogether. And that's when you know you've done something right. When the visuals are so good that that the player feels like they're not in LittleBigPlanet anymore. I know certain creators have done that before, where they've made a level so good, so visually pleasing, that you're no longer in LittleBigPlanet anymore. But this one does it really good and makes it an eye candy. That I love about it. But anyways, guys, that's my review. If you want the full experience yourself, check out the description. Link is down there, along with my other social media sites. And also, don't forget to check out the last video on screen if you haven't seen it yet. Subscribe for more videos in the future. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.